If you like this channel and what I do here, please help to support my work by checking out one of my books, available from Lulu Publishing and Amazon.com. Thank you. Hi folks, welcome to Electric Media Madness. Carl James here, joined by Dan Ryan. It's Mandalorian Day. How you doing?
Yes, good.
Yeah, episode 7, also aka chapter 15, The Believer. Bit of an interesting one, this. Slightly different tone to what we've had recently. Dropped down just a little bit in my view, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. But we'll come to that afterwards. So I think what we'll probably just do is briefly go through the plot, such as it is.
But the brief
not a huge amount.
There isn't really a lot to...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not a lot really happens. It starts off, they're at this like prison camp thing, where they're just like disassembling TIE fighters or something.
Yeah.
And then Cara Dune comes along, and she's like, "Alright, you're fucking coming with me, mate." And then they get on like Slave One, and it's like everyone there. You got like Boba Fett, just everyone basically.
Yeah. Just for the purpose of the viewers, the person that they've took with them is Mayfeld. It's the character played by Bill Burr, and I think he was in an episode of that. I can't remember the episode title, but it was season 1, wasn't it, when they had to do like a heist type thing or something like that, wasn't it? On a rebel ship or something like that. So yeah, just for the benefit of people who don't know. So yeah, carry on. Sorry.
So they're basically like, yeah, we need to go to this planet and get in this like mining facility place. So they go there. They're like, hey, shit, it's gonna be pretty hard to get in. So the only way they could get in was for this guy and Mando to get in like stormtrooper uniforms, basically.
Yeah.
And just they sit in like this cargo truck for like 15 minutes just chatting.
and driving and being chased and all that. And,
then they get in.
It's a big part of it, wasn't it?
It was like most of the episode. They get in the big building thing. They go to the computer they're looking for. They get the data they want. They talk to
find Baby Yoda.
Yeah, to find Grogu. And,
Grogu.
They find the data. They talk to the officer who was in charge of, I can't remember his name.
Mayfeld. Mayfeld served under him, and he wasn't sure whether he'd recognise him or not. He clearly didn't.
Yeah.
But he was a bit concerned because he was originally going to go to the terminal, and then he said, "Well, what if he recognises me?" And Mando goes, "Well, I'll have to go." Yeah. And he says, "Yeah, but the terminal won't recognise you unless you show your face." Yeah. So it's like, and he tries it first, doesn't he, without wearing the helmet? And then he has to take it off.
He does,
so, but we'll come to that anyway. Yeah. So carry on.
So he does that at the terminal. Then they're chatting with this officer guy, and then Mayfeld gets a bit pissed off because
he's like spouting all Imperial propaganda, doesn't he, and all that about how everybody's weak and they should die and we're better and all this kind of thing. Yeah.
So he kills him, and then starts killing everyone else in the base, and then they just sort of climb out the window, climb on the roof, get Slave One come over, and everyone's like sniping everything so they can all get in, and it all looks really good. Yeah. And then they get on Slave One, it flies off. You get that orgasmic mine noise.
Oh, I know. I know. People are going to think we're right weirdos describing it like that, but
so satisfying.
That was such one of those things that really stuck out from Attack of the Clones, wasn't it? The seismic charges. So it goes quiet, doesn't it? And then it goes. Amazing. Yeah. Carry on.
but that happens. Then they escape and fly off, and then you see Moff Gideon, and Mando sends a message that's basically like, "Fucking coming for you, mate."
I'm coming for you.
And then the episode ends. Really.
That's it. Yeah. Not really a lot. I mean, a lot of it, like you say, a lot of it takes place on that truck. They're getting pursued by these pirates. It's a bit weird because you can't quite figure out what they're doing. I mean, they're locals or something on the planet where the Imperials have like set up base and that. and they are. I would have thought that they probably would have benefited better from trying to steal the rhodium that's in the back of the trucks, but they're actually just putting like thermal detonators on it, aren't they, and just blowing it up,
I guess
stopping each truck from
maybe
going
they're
through.
like
So yeah,
a local rebel gang
yeah,
thing, I guess.
yeah, just had enough and just trying to stop them. Yeah, yeah. But that plays out at the end because as they're flying away in Slave One, Mayfeld's like, "Give me that rifle," and he shoots the rhodium. Yeah, the fuel stuff.
Yeah.
He just pot shots it, doesn't it? And it just blows up all the facility. And you can see the look on his face is like, yeah, they deserve that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially after all that crap that was coming out that Imperial officer's gob. I mean, it's just, yeah, yeah. But the action was pretty damn good. I don't think it was quite as good as recent innings episodes, but yeah, it was still top notch. It was. But it seemed to go on an awful long time, didn't it? It's like a couple of the pirates jumped on the back of the truck, he took them out. Then another skiff came along, and then they jumped on, and then he took them out. And then like there's a load more behind them, and you think, oh, how's he going to take care of all of these lot? And then some little TIE fighters come down and blast them, and they're like the heroes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a juxtaposition of, like, how whenever the rebels succeed in their missions and like all the rebel soldiers are like, and all this kind of thing, but instead it's the other way around. It's like they got the fuel through, all the stormtroopers are like, yeah. So some nice little touches. Yeah. Anything else that you were interested in? I mean, I've got a few bits and bobs that I want to speak about, but anything else that you wanted to mention about things that you liked and that? Yeah.
Well, I like the whole feel of the show at the minute where it is. Just like you've got like all these really good characters like working together and stuff, and it's good shit seeing them all together. I like the feel of it and where it is at the minute.
Yeah. It had a feel, I don't know whether you thought this as well, but this episode had a feel of Rogue One. It felt a bit like that.
Yeah, I suppose I get where you're coming from.
Assaulting the Imperial sort of base and all that, and the sort of jungle sort of setup and all that around it. So yeah, it did feel a little bit like that to me. They were trying to do the run to the hangar thing and all that, and it's like with the run with the truck and all that, and getting their gang together to go off for this mission. That's so not dissimilar to Rogue One. Which is not an unwelcome thing because Rogue One's not a bad film by any means. It's I think it's one of those things with Star Wars where there's only so many things you can play around with, and of course this whole thing is like riffing on the whole westerns anyway. And anytime they get like a gang together, it's like sort of like the Magnificent Seven type thing and all that, isn't it? It's that kind of theme. Getting all the mercenaries together for the mission and all that, and they do let Mayfeld go at the end, don't they? They sort of say to him, look, you did some good stuff for us, so we'll just pretend that you died in the explosion, but let you go, kind of thing. And he's like, well, shall I go now? And Mando's going, go quick. Yeah, nice little touches there. Yeah. And you're saying about the spatial charge as well, when the TIE fighters are pursuing Slave One, he drops the spatial charge which destroys them. And I mean, that was one of those things that there are some good things about Attack of the Clones, but that it's one of those pieces of technology that it was a real sort of standout, wasn't it? From Attack of the Clones, and it's something that sound effect is just absolutely amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the visual of it as well. I thought the whole idea of Mando removing his helmet was an interesting one. He said, because obviously Mayfeld saw what he looked like, and he said, I won't tell anybody. And I suppose he could kind of pass it off as like, well, officially he's dead now, so he never did see me. And you could also say, well, what about all those Imperial officers that saw him? But they blew up the base, so they're presumably dead. But if there were any survivors that recognized that saw him, I don't know. I mean, I'm doubting that's the case. It looked like they were pretty much all killed. Those that were in the sort of that mess hall canteen thing where they were all sat, they were all pretty much got rid of, weren't they? So, and by that point, he'd got his helmet back on again. So, does it kind of undercut that thing that he's always said? If anybody sees me, I can't wear it again.
I think it does a bit.
It does, doesn't it?
He
Yeah,
made
that's what I
such a
thought.
big deal about it before.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, I can never let anybody see me with it on, without it, and all this kind of thing. And he has now. So, um, are there going to be repercussions of that further down the line? I don't know. I mean, he could probably to himself justify it, but he's made such a song and dance about it in the past, hasn't he? So does it?
Yeah, I find that weird that
Um,
he would be able to justify it to
yeah,
himself because he
yeah,
follows the like Mando code. So
yeah.
like
The
yeah,
only thing I can think of is that he's become so passionate now about saving Baby Yoda and cares about him and all this kind of thing that that's become the priority, and that the helmet thing
yeah,
isn't now. I don't know, you know. But if that's the case, he would just take the helmet off all the time and done with, wouldn't he?
yeah,
Um, you know, or maybe he's just thinking, well, I'll try to keep it on wherever I have to, but if need must, because in order to get the information to save Baby Yoda, he had no choice. He had to take that
yeah.
helmet off, and he was so determined to save him. So, yeah, that's the way I kind of look at it. But it does undercut it. It does undercut it. There's no two ways about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. A couple of little things I wanted to mention. Cara Dune again, Gina Carano, always great in this. I love the way she took out the two initial truck drivers before they got their uniform. The way she just dropped in there and just like, you know, real badass, isn't she? You know, I suppose that's what you get from being a former MMA fighter and all that kind of thing. So yeah. But she knows how to do all that kind of stuff. It was great seeing her and Fennec as well. You know, when they got like the sharpshooter rifles, and they're like, pew, pew. You know, some really strong female representation there, which is as it should be. That's the way it should be portrayed, I think. You know, they're good, really good, great, strong female characters. You know, very little of Boba Fett in this episode, which is a little bit disappointing. He wasn't in it a great deal, but you know, he was there, better than nothing at all. And I did notice that his armor was all nice and shiny now and looking very much more like it, which was that looked good. Bill Burr as well as Mayfeld, you know, he did a great stint there in that role. He really does do a good job of that. One of the things I've noticed, and it's going to be a bit of a controversial subject to bring up here, but we've got a lot of actors on this show now who will not kneel for the whole sort of SJW propaganda type thing. You know, that's something that, you know, they're not saying that they're anti-SJW, but they certainly won't, you know, they won't bend the knee, and they won't be trounced all over by the Twitter mob, the Twitterati and all that. You know what I mean? So you've got like Gina Carano, previously you got Rosario Dawson as well, and now you've got Bill Burr as another one who's kind of spoken out a little bit about this sort of hive mentality, extremist mentality of some of these people, particularly the people on Twitter and all that. You know, so it's an interesting theme that's running through these episodes at the moment. Bit of an odd irony, considering that it's made by Disney. That's very, you know, very progressive, as they would say. So, you know, I mean, I know some of these actors are having a bit of a tough time at the moment, aren't they? They're really being kind of hounded and that, and there's a lot more sort of going on with that. So, yeah, but you know, it doesn't detract anything from at the end of the day from the fact that these are great actors. Portraying these characters really, really well and doing a great job of it. So certainly makes it more pleasurable to watch the show. That was my thoughts on it anyway. A couple of interesting things I wanted, and I don't know whether you picked up on this one or not. Mayfeld was talking about, he was comparing two planets. He said Mandalore and Alderaan, and he said, well, neither exist anymore. And I thought, does that mean that Mandalore's been destroyed? It kind of implied that Mandalore has been destroyed. Now, unless I've missed something, because I never watched all of Rebels, certainly Mandalore was still there by the end of the Clone Wars, and you know it was there. So I don't know. Maybe it has been completely, you know, blasted by the Death Star or something like that. Maybe certainly that was the implication, wasn't it? That just like Alderaan, it had met the same sort of fate. So I don't know. But it was a whiz bang, whiz past sort of line, wasn't it? It was just quickly sort of said and gone again, you know. So maybe there's going to be some implications there as well. some of the real nastiness coming out of that Imperial officer's mouth as well. I was going to say out of his arse, but
Pretty
one of
much,
the
yeah.
one of the lines I picked up on was, everybody thinks they want freedom, but what they really want is order. And I kept thinking about 2012 with that line. So I don't know whether these episodes were filmed before all the stuff that's happened or not, but it seems a bit weird to hear that. But then it's coming out of an Imperial officer's gob as well, so it's propaganda for the Empire anyway. And a lot of Imperial characters have always said those kinds of things, haven't they, in Star Wars in the past? Like they want to be controlled by us. We're bringing order to the galaxy and all this kind of thing, So it's that sort of vibe, isn't it? So yeah. Other than that, those are really all I had in the way of notes. There wasn't anything else I really wanted to say about it. So did you want anything else you wanted to drop in before we rate it?
Just, the same as always. It looks really good, sounds really good, everything's shot really well, sounds really well, everyone's really good acting. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching a lot of the feedback about Mandalorian online, particularly on YouTube. We watch a lot of the Fandom Menace type YouTubers, I mean, it's far too many to mention here. But there's been an interesting mix. We've had some people who've said, most of them will say the same thing like us. We can't forgive Disney for what they did, particularly with The Last Jedi. But all that aside, some people are saying, like us, they can still sit and watch The Mandalorian. There's some people who are saying, I don't like the fact that I'm sitting here watching The Mandalorian, but I will grudgingly admit that it's very, very good. Some people are saying, this is shit, because they're kind of just like, how can you possibly like this? Because it's still being effectively made by the same people. And some people compare it to like, I think it was Tom on Midnight's Edge who said that way back, he said it was like when you get back together with an old girlfriend sort of thing, an old partner or whatever, and you think it's going to be the same as it was before, but it really, really isn't. And then you go back like a third time and it's like even more watered down than before, and you're kind of living on the past memory of when it was really, really good way back, but it's never ever going to be like that again kind of thing. And I do understand that mentality. But as we've said before, as much as I loathe saying anything good about Disney, this show has been good. It has been good. They're certainly not trying to insult and offend the hardcore, dyed in the wool Star Wars fans. They do seem to be doing something good. Should we really let them off the hook for that? I don't know. But it's good. It is good. I will say that. So as long as they don't start really bashing people over the head and really making a mockery of the fans like they've done before, then I can get behind this for now. So as soon as they start doing that, I'm done. I will call it out exactly for what it is if it starts doing it. Star Trek Discovery, that does it all the time. But for now, no, it's not fell into that trap as of yet. So we'll see. So, shall we rate it then?
8.5 maybe?
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking, initially I was being a bit hard on it, but then I thought, I'm comparing it as well to recent episodes we've had, which have been like 9 and a 10 and all that kind of thing. I don't think it's bad by any means, but it feels a little bit like the second episode where it was just like marking time filler, moving ready for the next thing. So it's like setting things up for the finale. I kind of wondered whether maybe this would be a 2-part thing, but it wasn't really, was it? It was like the pre-heist to the big thing to save Baby Yoda in the final episode. So that detracted from it a little bit for me. So it did feel like it was marking. I'm going to give this a 7.5. 7.5, yeah. Which is still a good, perfectly respectable score for it, but it's a bit, it falls short of recent things. A lot of sort of pew pew and all this kind of thing, and again, a lot of the other episodes have had pew pew, but they've had all the things going on as well. Whereas this one was, like you say, Boba Fett's just sort of floating around in the background and all that. There's not really much happening with this. It's just like getting the information to get ready to save Baby Yoda, and so be interested to see what happens next week. I hope this. I think it will be a doozy, but we'll just have to wait and see. One more to go. and then that's it.
Yeah.
For a while, quite a while, I'd imagine.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
if anything, but of course now Disney have suddenly gone full tilt, haven't they? I mean, I didn't know you were filling me in on a few bits and pieces. What have they been talking about now then?
There's fucking loads. I'd have to pull it up to get them all, but there's loads. I think that there's like Lando, Ahsoka. There's more about the Obi-Wan series.
I do believe that's actually been gone back to shooting. I know the Cassian Andor series is in the process of being shot now. So I'm not really fussed for that one, to be honest. My thinking tends to be that once a character's sort of dead and gone, all you're doing then is just going back and filling in the gaps, aren't you? So you want to see future adventures of that character, and Cassian Andor is very much dead, as we saw at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
You can't get more dead than being blown up by the Death Star, can you? Really?
No.
Yeah, so they've gone full tilt. So maybe some of these things are going to be coming along sooner than we think, fill in the gaps between now and the next season of Mandalorian. We'll just say thank you so much for watching this video. As always, we truly appreciate all your support. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and it means a great deal to us. And Dan and I will see you again very soon. Take care for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.